We got Thursday night football. It is Cowboys versus Seahawks at Cowboys. It should be a blowout, but we'll see. In this video, I'm going to give you guys kind of the rundown of the game, what I think is going to happen. We're going to game script it together, and then we're actually just going to kind of talk over props because I'm doing this Wednesday night, so not all the props are out, and especially fantasy score props are not out yet. So I'm kind of just going to tell you guys what I'm liking, and then I'll tell you like specific fantasy points I want it to be at to take them. So what we'll do is first we'll look at the Cowboys. So let's go over to Draftkings to check out the matchups for the game. Basically, the only great matchup we see is Tony Pollard going against Seattle running defense. Seattle's rush defense is obviously horrible. Tony Pollard is also kind of horrible this year, so it's a tough one to bet on. I don't love it. He's set at rushing yards. He's set at, let's see. He is set at 63.5 rush yards. I don't hate it, but I think he should, I think it should be a blowout. I think they should hand the ball off to him a lot. He's projected, I think it was 14.5 carries, which I'm not touching either. But let's see. Rush attempts, yeah, so 14.5 carries. If he gets anywhere around there, if he gets 14 or so, he should hit that line of rushing yards. I don't personally love it, though. I think he should score a touchdown. I think he might get a couple receptions. His receiving is 21. Yeah, I think Pollard's going to have a good game. I would bet Pollard over on fantasy. I think they're probably going to set his line 14.5, 15.5, somewhere right around there, and I'm perfectly fine taking that. So I like Tony Pollard over on fantasy if it's right around there. If it gets in the 16.5, 17, that's kind of getting a little up there, so maybe not. But I like Tony Pollard in this game. CeeDee Lamb, I want to warn you guys about CeeDee Lamb because his lines are still so high. Like he's had 2 bad games in a row now, so some people are thinking like, oh, he's due. So they're like going crazy on him. I don't love doing that. The matchup isn't, the worst for him. It's decent. It's right in the middle of the pack. So it's kind of up to you. I think 7 receptions is kind of a crazy line for him still. He had 11, 11, 12. He had like 3 insane games in a row, and I think people are expecting him to keep that up. Personally, I'm not expecting him to keep that up. He didn't do that at the beginning of the season. I mean, he had a couple games like that, but for the most part, he was right around 4 to 5 receptions a game for most of the season. So I still think this line's high. I might even take the under on this line, but at the end of the day, it's still CeeDee Lamb, so I don't know if I want to take the under there. I kind of just want to stay away from it. So other than that, Dak, I don't hate. I like Dak. 283 passing yards I like. But again, I would love fantasy props more in the NFL. They just score so much, especially Dallas, right? I'm expecting them to just blow the Seahawks out. So I don't hate taking Dak over whatever his fantasy points is going to end up being instead of his passing yards. We'll have to see when it comes out. And Geno Smith. Okay, so Geno Smith under on fantasy should be a lock. The reason being is last week when he played the Niners, I mean, he just shit the bed, if we're being honest. Where's his fantasy points? Yeah, 8 fantasy points. And, he's just, if they put his fantasy points anywhere at like 15.5 or 14.5, I'm taking the under. If it's like, the only way I'd stay away from it is if it's like 12.5, I'd stay away. 13, I might stay away. Because they're going to be down, so they're going to be passing the ball. But I mean, they were down against the Niners passing the ball, and they still didn't do much. Geno under on fantasy score just feels like a lock almost every week, especially like when he plays good defenses. Geno's super reliant on the type of defenses he plays. Like when he plays a good matchup, he does great. When he plays a bad matchup, he does bad. Like it's super consistent with Geno. It's not like that with everyone, but with Geno, it's super consistent like that. So depending on his fantasy score, I like the under. So I'll do this just to show you, but something like this, but with their fantasy score instead. So like Tony Pollard over on fantasy score, Geno under on fantasy score. And that's game scripted too. It's perfect. If it's a blowout, they're going to be running the ball. Yes, Seahawks are going to be passing the ball, but I still expect him to um, not do very good against this defense. I wish we had a Geno interception, and that's kind of why I like taking Geno fantasy instead of yards, is because I expect him to throw at least one pick, if not two. And so, it's subtracting points off his fantasy. So I like him under on fantasy. Other than that, we also got field goals, which I always look at. Jason Myers. This is tough because you look at Jason Myers and this team only kicks field goals, man. If you've been following me and you notice that I always do kickers in primetime, it is a great strategy. If you want to do it again, Jason Myers is obviously the way to go in this one over Brandon Aubrey. Definitely go Jason Myers, but I don't know. I might stay away from that. We'll see. But basically, yeah, I just wanted to game script this for you guys. Put down in the comments if you have any questions. I'll try to reply back to you guys and answer any questions you have. DK should be. I don't know if I love DK either. I just don't like the Seahawks in this game at all. I think it really should just be a blowout. I mean, Dallas has had like multiple games. Most of their games this season, they're scoring over 35 plus, 40 plus, and just blowing teams out. It should be another game like that. I expect it to. Once it's just hard to say anything until these fantasy lines come out, because that's really where you make your money on primetime games in the NFL is fantasy lines. So we'll see when that comes out. And to make sure you guys see what I do for that, go ahead and follow the TikTok. It's just Ghost Locks on TikTok. And then I'll post like a 6-man of just like my 6 favorite plays for primetime on that TikTok. So go ahead and follow that. And then follow the IG as well. I'll also post on there. It's Ghost Locks on everything. So I'll also post it on there as well when fantasy drops. So yeah, go ahead and follow those to see what I do. Other than that, guys, just please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. This weekend's going to be insane. I want to talk about this weekend real quick. So for college football, we obviously have the crazy Friday night game, Oregon versus Washington. I'm going crazy in that, okay? I'm going insane in this game. I just love betting on these teams. I've been betting on them all year. It's been nothing but good for me. And follow if you want to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to be putting up around like $200 on this game, and it's going to be paying out if I hit everything. It's going to be upwards of 10K, guys. Okay. Yes, $10,000 if everything goes well in that game. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel if you want to see stuff like that. And then Saturday is going to be crazy, and then Sunday should also be good. I'm loving the matchups for Sunday. Dolphins should do really well again. We got Eagles, Niners. So it's good matchups all around. Subscribe to see those. Like the video if you like the free picks I'm giving. Comment if you're tailing any of the picks. And then, like I said, go to the TikTok when you want to see the official picks that I post for that. Other than that, guys, good luck with all your picks, and I'll see you later.